Hello, I'm Bill Curtis. Of those 8 million imprisoned around the world, more than 1 million are here in the United States. It's estimated that American taxpayers are now spending $26 billion a year to house and feed them. And while recent crime statistics say violent crime in the U.S. is headed downward, many experts say it's only a blip on the screen. They claim much of the crime drop is found among criminals 18 and under, and that soon the number of teenagers in this country will soar, and with it, a dramatic jump in street violence. For years, one criticism of this country's prison system is that too many violent criminals are serving time alongside younger first-time offenders. We begin this edition of Investigative Reports inside a new state penitentiary, designed for those said to be too dangerous and too violent for ordinary prison life behind bars. Located beneath the shadows of the Rocky Mountains, Colorado State Penitentiary is the highest security prison in the state. It houses inmates who have demonstrated aggressive, assaultive, and violent behavior.
It's a hard time up in this place. If you're a weak person, this ain't the place for you.
It's a game of survival in prison.
There's so much security, it make your head kind of trip a little bit, you know, because you would look, you would think, well, damn, what's going on right here? You know, this is worse than the zoo. The zoo, I think I like the zoo a little bit better than this. Nah, I don't feel I can do this no more.
11095 King.
Tony King is serving 6 years for assault and robbery.
If you're not really ready for this in no type of way, I wouldn't really advise you to up in no other facility and coming over here to this, because, you know, you got nothing over here. You got nothing.
All of that, it's the second one. You know, sitting up in here, watching TV, laid up, getting back problems. You know, I feel like an old man, I'm 22. You know, just all you can do is push-ups. You know what I'm saying? Stare in the mirror, look out the window.
Inside Colorado State Penitentiary, life is a mix of cold concrete, sterile cells, little sunlight, and plenty of free time for the 500 inmates who call this place home. Inmates are locked up 23 hours a day in 8 by 10 foot cells. Their only view of the outside world is through a window that is 6 feet high and 2 feet wide. They are allowed 1 hour a day to exercise and shower.
A lot of guys that I know, like myself, personally, I got 135 years. You know, we ain't got nothing to lose, so it don't really faze us. I mean, what can they do? Take our TV? Yeah, you know, strip our house? So what? You know, it don't mean nothing. I was convicted of Department of Corrections COP violation for 4 counts of attempted murder and possession of dangerous contraband. It's like living in a living tomb. You know, you're slammed down for about 23 hours a day. You mind your own business. You'll be all right. You know, best thing is just to just practice avoiding unnecessary bullshit. There's a few good convicts here. I say out of the 500, there's about at least 120 solid convicts. The rest, worthless ass PC, snitching, ratting ass inmates, you know. You know, just like them sorry ass homosexuals, you know. That's the same thing, you know. While at CSP, you got to learn to adapt, adjust, and overcome the conditions you're in, and be able to use the things that are in your house. What I do is I roll up my mattress, put it in my pillowcase, and use it as a handy bag.
You know where you stand with the inmate like Baca. Okay, he's here doing his time and he's gonna be here for a long time. But at least you have an idea where you stand. Whereas you can get another inmate that's just as violent, just as tough, and just as wise as any other. And you don't know where you stand.
I was involved with a lot of cocaine and drinking, and that's what actually got me here. This is actually my second time in the system, so it's a lonely place. It's a place that keeps you confined to a cell, and it's rough. You know, you got to be, I think, mentally there, you know, mentally stable in order to handle this kind of time. A person has to be strong, because it can break you if you ain't strong.
It's a picture of my mom's right here, man. It's my mom. You know? It's all I got in here to keep me company.
12-28. 58 to 43.
I think that it takes a weak-minded person to let a place like this get to you. I don't have any problem with solitude, you know, but there's a lot of people in here that can't handle it. If you're a weak person, this ain't the place for you. I mean, mentally or physically. You can sure get in your share of trouble in here if you wanted to.
35 to 42.
Even in such a regulated environment, this Colorado prison is still a dangerous and volatile world. A world that can erupt at any moment.
We were doing a strip search, and the inmate turned and smacked me in the jaw, giving me 2 stitches on the inside, 3 on the outside. He hit me, knocked me back approximately 2 steps into a wall. I came off the wall. Myself and the other staff members present proceeded to restrain him, take him to the floor, and once we had him in full restraints, we took him out of the day hall.
Campos, you got the quarters, sir? No. Well, these guys aren't in here for doing anything nice. They're in here for assaulting staff, assaulting other inmates. So there's not a day that goes by or not a second that goes by you can be assaulted by one of these guys.
We've gotten threatened, but that's just the way of life in here.
Are you trying to keep, man? And you better not never get locked up.
No one has ever escaped from here. The security is impressive. Officers can monitor the inmates' every move. This is the EPOD control center.
What's that guy's name?
Every door is opened and closed electronically from this room. If an inmate attempted to flee this pod, he would have to pass through 8 metal doors, 4 video-monitored hallways, and finally, past the heavily guarded front gate. Since the facility opened in August of 1993, this prison has been home to a flow of new and defiant inmates, ready to test its cold and sterile environment.
That guy we just put in the day hall, he just came from another facility of ours, Buena Vista. I guess the story is him and a couple of his friends had plans to kidnap a female officer, and the plan was to rape her, but they got broken up before it ever happened. Now that's why he's here at State Pen.
Amy, take all the clothes off.
All inmates entering CSP are strip searched, and every item is electronically scanned for contraband.
You notice on the black and white here, there's a point end and a blunt end. So that could be either a piece of metal, which the blue is indicating, being used as a knife or some type of other device.
The first night for a new inmate here can be a frightening experience, especially in the evening, when the sounds of rage echo through the building.
How are you doing?
Who are you?
I'm the warden.
At 4 feet 11 inches tall, Donice Neal does not fit the typical stereotype of a warden that would oversee one of America's toughest lockups.
I get called a lot of names. Bitch is probably the favorite name for me. It took some getting used to. It's not the kind of environment I'm from. And the first time I got called names, I thought, geez. But it's something you just kind of stop hearing after a while. You okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You having a good day? No complaints?
Just like any other day.
They're allowed an hour a day for exercise, recreation, showering. All of the programs here are delivered to the inmate. The inmates have shown at the other facilities that they can't control their behavior. We control it here.
Are you contemplating now, or have you attempted suicide in the last 6 months?
I don't think it's inhuman. It's a behavioral modification program more than anything else. When the inmates follow the rules, there's a way to progress out of here. We emphasize that inmates earn their way into this facility. There are ways for inmates to earn their way out, and that requires following our rules.
In the 2 years that it's been in operation, CSP has processed a total of 358 inmates through its doors. Of these 358 men, 16 have returned, a recidivism rate of only 4.4%.
The inmates who are leaving this facility don't tend to come back. We feel like if we decrease or make their behavior more positive, then we decrease the violence in the other facilities, and that's what we have shown.
I see brothers up in here, 18, got 100 years. I don't want to be like that, you know. I don't want my mom to have to come visit me behind these walls. But see, now sitting up in here, that's the only good credit I'll give to this place, is it gave me some time to do some soul searching.
This is one place I would never want to come again. I'm working on that, you know. Hopefully I don't.
Oh, I should get out of prison about 2002. It seems like it's not really worth doing anything if you got to go through this here.
I have no one to blame except myself. You know, I made the choices, I took the risks, and you know, it's like you say, you know, if you're gonna do the crime, you got to be man enough to do the time. So here I am.
You have to watch your back. A lot of women's been sliced and stabbed and stuff. I mean, they'll find a way to hurt you if they really hate you that much.
You're dealing with a bunch of women, so you have like a bunch of attitudes and mood swings to deal with.
In the United States, women make up 10% of the total prison population. However, their numbers are increasing at a faster rate than men. Robbery, auto theft, drug possession, first-degree murder. Though the crimes women commit are similar to their male counterparts, their behavior in prison is different.
With female inmates, There is a lot more homosexuality, and it's more open than in male facilities. And it's not, from what I can see, sexual. It's more for emotional, for the family ties that they have. They'll call each other husband and wife, or they'll have a mom in here, or a daughter, you know, and it's just the family, the emotional ties that females seem to need. Female inmates are less violent than the male inmates. They're more verbal. They like to run their mouths more and tell you off and all that.
The sounds. If you're going to try to get some sleep, no, that's not one thing you're going to get. But it's just some tells you not to come back. That's because of what you go through.
Wanda, serving 2 years for auto theft, has had a hard time adjusting to prison life.
Sometimes it makes you want to change, to become mean, you know, but if you know any better, you can't let them change you. You know, you have to be yourself.
Almost 70% of the women who are incarcerated are single parents. Photographs are the only connection to the children they have left behind. 23-year-old Christine is serving life without parole for first-degree murder.
That's the hardest thing, is to be away from them. As they get older, try to just explain to them the situation I was in, and basically that it's not their fault.
Christine was convicted of stabbing and torturing to death the son of a federal court judge. 19-year-old Linnell is serving a 7-year sentence for armed robbery.
My daughter is 3, my son is 1. Try to let them know that mommy will be back, you know, talk like that. You know, kids ask questions too, and my daughter, Mom, you coming home? I'm coming home, but not right now.
Janet is serving a 10-year sentence for assault and battery.
How many kids do you have?
4.
What do you tell them where mommy is?
I don't. They don't know.
They don't know you're here?
They just think I'm away. They don't know where.
I got pregnant in a halfway house as a DOC client. I wasn't there but 6 weeks, and so it's a little overwhelming to be here pregnant. I didn't want to come back, much less back pregnant. It's hard enough to do time, much less do time pregnant. It's stressful.
Pregnant inmates spend only 24 hours in the hospital before returning to prison. Their baby will be given to either a family member or a charitable organization, or the child will be put up for adoption.
Being a convict, being an inmate, I'm afraid the system will look at me as unfit because I am in prison, and that is my biggest fear, is losing my baby to the system.
Statistics show that most female inmates were sexually abused as children and involved in abusive adult relationships. Peggy, mother of 2, is in for first-degree murder for killing her husband. Her sentence is life without parole.
It's like the women end up killing a mate because they're abusive. The women are the one who do the most time. You know, it's not really fair to a lot of the women in here because the men, they get 18 months or they get off, you know. And to me, I don't think that's fair, but such is life.
As with any prison, inmates who cause trouble receive disciplinary action. This is the segregation unit, better known as the Hole. It's home to inmates who have either disobeyed staff or have been involved in fights. These women are locked down for 23 hours a day.
Are you having any signs of depression?
Today I have. I was last night too.
Can you tell me what those were?
Just that I can't sleep at night. This room is getting to me.
It's a separate reality. If I were 17, 18 years old, this is the last place I'd want to be. Believe me.
When Investigative Reports returns here on A&E, a hidden camera gives us a view of a weapons search inside the toughest women's prison in Texas. And we meet some inmates who say they are lucky to be where they are. Though assaults on staff are rare in women's prisons, the danger is still foremost in the minds of the correctional officers. At this women's prison in Texas, cell searches are a daily routine. Officers look for weapons and any other contraband. Officer Rebecca Cheshire agreed to wear a lipstick camera secured to her waist to show what can happen during a routine cell search in Texas' toughest lockdown.
I think only one goes in a perm. We need to find out. Tell her we'll check it and find out. She was upset because we took some makeup that had been wrapped in paper, which makes it contraband. I mean, I've moved a picture and had one go off on me because I moved a picture in her cell. I had no right to touch her picture. Well, she's got to remember she's in the penitentiary and I'm a correctional officer. I have the right.
I went to a meeting one night. I went to a meeting one night. I went to a meeting one night. And my heart was not right. He is got a hold of me.
I miss out on respect and attention and love and stuff like that. What I get served at home, I don't get served that here.
You know, I've never seen so many people happy about being locked up. Maybe it's because they were so miserable out there that this here, I mean, gives them a chance to live, I mean, and be who they are.
I've been on this since I was 16 years old. And when I went to the county jail, that was a blessing to me. When I come to prison, that's just more of a blessing to me. It's like a prayer being answered because I didn't have nowhere to go. I was at the point of where I could have killed somebody or somebody could have killed me because I was just that serious about that lifestyle. And when I came to jail, I was so tired of running that I slept for 7 days.
Whatever problems you're having on the streets now with your family, school, peers, whatever problems you're having now, deal with them before you act out when you're doing crimes or you turn to drugs. Deal with them now while you have a chance. That's our message.
My name is Linnell Russell. I come to you in the universal greetings of peace. Presently, as I write to you, I am incarcerated, but due to my present circumstances, I would like to give you a word of encouragement. I want to ask, if you hear me, I hear you too. If you feel me, I feel you too. We as people should stand together to show the next man where there's a will, there's a way. The sea flows and nobody knows when God will show. I mean, who's to say that jail is the only way?
Recent studies of the growing number of female inmates in our nation's prisons provide some revealing facts. The average maximum sentence for women is 5 years. For men, it's 10. Only 1/3 of women in state penitentiaries are serving time for violent offenses. That compares with about 1/2 for men. Of the more than 3,000 prisoners on death row in this country, less than 50 are female. That figure has led to charges that this nation's justice system is not gender neutral. Take the case of Susan Smith of South Carolina, who was convicted of drowning her 2 young children. Many have argued that had she been a man, she would have ended up on death row instead of being sentenced to prison for life. And as more women are convicted of more violent crimes, that argument will assuredly be heard again and again. Join me tomorrow night for Gangs and Violence in a place where they thrive, prison. That's behind bars on Investigative Reports. I'm Bill Curtis. Join us next time for another edition of Investigative Reports here on A&E.